Greetings, Neuse Little Pod listeners. This is your host, Matt Gore, reminding you to please like, follow, subscribe, and share the podcast on your available podcast apps such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and any other podcast app you can think of. Share our episodes on Facebook and let us know what you think with a comment or review. Now, please enjoy the show. Good evening and welcome to Neuse Little Podcast. This is an audio program talking about the backstage antics and stories of running a small-town community theater on the banks of the Neuse River located in Smithfield, North Carolina. We lovingly refer to the old girl as the Hut. We hope you enjoy.
That'd be great though, yeah.
I'm going to see if that causes an issue because
What, the fan?
too hot not to have
I don't care. I don't care if it causes an issue. It's a free show. Listen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Neuse Little Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, where
From the bowels of hell.
where we are doing the show in with no air conditioning up in the booth in July, and it is 90 degrees, and it feels great. And not only that, we are being held hostage by a flying dirt dauber, a ground wasp that just keeps buzzing everybody's head. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, you can really feel it. So if you hear the fan in the background, I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to roll with that.
Yeah. We just turned them off, and it was so hot in here, it was miserable.
So either podcast until we die of heat exhaustion. So you know what happened. This is a record that somebody can find later on of our last hours up here in this booth. For some reason,
there are people who pay good money to be this hot. It's called a sauna.
Yeah, listen.
That's different though. Like you're so hot, like. If you sit still, like the sweat evaporates everything off your body.
I get that
you
walking
don't
to
feel
my car.
that hot.
No, I get that walking to my car.
Hot yoga.
No, there's nothing. So we're dealing with that today, folks. We have 3 episodes in July. That's just how the month of July kind of panned out. And that means we kind of had to get creative. And then we're going to give you a break from theater news. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I don't know if you know this. There is a finite amount of Neuse Little Theater news. we run out. I mean, I run out of stuff to tell you every now and then, and I know people have ideas and stuff like this, but we kind of just winged this one today, and then we're going to have our 50th episode later on in the month after that with special guests that are yet to be revealed.
They show up.
If they, yeah, that we're recording them today, and I'm just like, oh man. I don't think one of them can do this because this is really hot up here. We're going to see how it works out, folks. It's very interesting. All right, but focusing on today's podcast, we have a movie podcast for you. We're going to talk about past movies this summer and future movies this summer. I hope that one of you has a list of future movies coming out this summer handy so I can take a look at it because I am not up on the news. Not like Mita, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. What's the last movie you saw in a movie theater, Mita?
Last movie I saw in a movie theater, I think, was Indiana Jones.
No.
It was the Throwback Thursday that the Howl was doing.
Oh, so this was like Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah.
Circa 1981? Yes, that's a wonderful film, but... Wow.
It was great to see it on the big screen, but yeah, it's not a more current movie.
Did you know that Tom Selleck was almost Indiana Jones?
I think I heard that. I think it's the reason why he wears the fedora.
Yeah, he couldn't get out of his Magnum PI contract.
But yeah, so.
I don't know. I guess that's what Tom Selleck's known for. I guess that's his biggest credit. When he dies, it'll be Tom Selleck of Magnum PI and Blue Bloods.
Yeah,
it's not a bad way to go.
I don't know. He was on Friends. He was okay on Friends.
Speaking of which, all right, let's introduce. He's been waiting patiently while
I know he has his little notebook out like he did homework.
He better have.
I did. Actually.
One of our guests dropped out at the last minute, so I'm going to have to lean on my good buddy Keith Davis. Thank you for being on the podcast today, sir.
Hey, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Fellow movie aficionado, and it was also recently his 30th birthday, so happy birthday, Keith.
That's right. I appreciate it.
So we're going to talk about past summer movies on the way up, just mainly the big hits and stuff like that. Let's start it out with the surprise hit of the decade. I cannot believe this movie made as much money as it did, because when I heard it, I'm like, oh, that's going to suck. And I like the old movie. It's Top Gun Maverick. Now, Mita, you are the only white person over the age of 40 who has not seen Top Gun Maverick.
Yep. It's sort of going to be my Titanic, too. I held out for a long time before I watched it.
You finally watched it?
I finally did.
Yeah.
Is it just spite? Is it just spite, Mita?
It's one of those things like you have to see it. The more you tell me I have to see something, the more I'm going to go, nope.
I've wanted her to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for like 2
Oh,
years.
wow.
So much that I just want to strap her in the seat, Clockwork
Yes.
Orange style. Like, watch this movie,
Like,
please.
come
And
on.
I've seen that in the movie theater too.
what?
I've seen Clockwork Orange in the movie theater too.
Wow. What was that like in the movie theater?
It was there used to be a theater up in Raleigh on Six Forks, I think, called the Colony. It was part of like the Rialto and the Colony, and there was another one. I
Yeah,
think
love
that
the Rialto independent movie theater down there in
was-
downtown Raleigh.
Yeah, and the Colony was sort of part of that. I think it was part of that movie. You have the movie franchises or whatever that are
Yeah.
all over. Well, this was kind of like a little mini one. I think they all sort of supported each other. But they used to do, I don't know if it was I think it was Wednesday nights. They used to do like old movies. And Clockwork Orange was one they did. We went and saw Monty Python and the Holy Grail on the big
Nice.
screen there.
This theater had excellent taste. What was it like watching? Did you watch it with friends and stuff like
I
that?
watched it with Steven. Steven actually did go to the movies that time.
So this is semi-recent, like in the last like 10, 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I was going to
No,
say,
I thought
not
it-
recent.
I thought
but
it
yeah.
might have been when it first came out when you were in college or something
this
like that.
This was sort of like a throwback.
Okay. So what did you and Steven think of A Clockwork Orange on the big screen?
I actually liked it. It's weird. It's just such an odd movie to watch.
Yeah.
But it's not as violent, but it's not as, oh my God, that's horrible as
Compared to today,
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
It was shocking at the time.
yeah.
But honestly, there's a lot of stuff that really holds up in the movie, like all the use of the music and stuff like that. And listen, we're on a tangent here, folks. You just got to roll with our stream of content. We'll get back to Maverick in a minute.
It's the heat.
Yeah, it's our brains are cooking, and we're all just like fever dreaming now.
This is what you call a stream of consciousness
Yes,
podcast.
The preheat stroke.
You know what? I'm going to embrace it today. I don't care. So, the thing about A Clockwork Orange is, I think, would you agree? Like, have you seen The Shining too?
Yes, the original.
Yes.
Kubrick.
Yeah, Kubrick's. So, would you agree that no other films feel or play like Kubrick films?
Yeah, he's definitely has a definite style. It's sort of leaves you on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Dread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You always think something terrible is about to happen.
Yeah, this constant like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. So
Would you agree, Keith, about Kubrick films and how they're? Because Kubrick's one of my favorite directors. He's one of the greatest artists of the 20th century. Everybody should watch his films.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, especially concerning The Shining. I haven't seen Clockwork Orange in a very long time, but I can kind of feel the same sort of sentiment throughout that movie. Barry Lyndon is kind of a different sort of foot-folding in terms of his artistic style,
Yeah.
because you see him rise and then fall, pretty much. So
Barry Lyndon is every single frame in Barry Lyndon could be a painting.
yes,
It
it's
could be a.
gorgeous.
And I'm not a good enough art scholar to tell you what exactly type of paint, but just think 17th century England, ruffles, hats and big dresses and stuff like that.
Speaking of Tom Cruise, Maverick made 1.2
No. We haven't got
billion
into
dollars.
we haven't got into Full Metal Jacket yet. No. So how much did it make?
$1.2 billion currently
All
as
right.
we speak. It's half and half between international and domestic.
It was a huge surprise hit, and someone compared it to another huge surprise hit, which I think is one of the best films of the past decade, and that's Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This movie popped out of nowhere, and just like, you've got to see this, man. I'm like, what, the fourth Mad Max film? I just got to go rush through it. No, you really did. And
I think that just goes to prove you can do a sequel to something as long as you wait 20 years before you do it again.
Tom Cruise willed this movie to be successful. This movie being as successful is the best example I've ever seen of Scientology actually working out for
I
somebody.
was going to say how many virgins had to be sacrificed to Scientology for that to happen.
I'm good. Definitely have to cut that out because they're very Scientologists are very litigious. They love to sue
And
people.
I was going to, after I said that, I was going to say, I'm on a list now.
So the movie is good. We saw it on IMAX, and even my fiance Tamara enjoyed it when she really didn't like the first one, having seen it the night before. She saw the first one the night before, and then the next day we went to go see the second one, and she was kind of had to be dragged there. But she ended up like, this is actually a pretty good movie. It's interesting.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched Top Gun in a long, long time. I'm thinking it doesn't really age very well, probably.
No, I mean, there's not much of a plot to be had, honestly.
There's a much more focused story in the sequel.
Yeah.
And
Which is why you need to watch it.
the first one's just about
Well,
this.
it's not just about beach volleyball and
No, there's
running
definitely
around and
there's not as many homoerotic undertones in the sequel as there are in the first one. Let me tell you, it's kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially in all these scenes, like, come on, Maverick, come on, don't you want to be one of the team, man? I'm like, what do you mean? Why are you in a towel right now?
What was the bar's name in that movie? I can't even remember, but that was suggestive too.
The B-52? No, I don't know. It was like last. Oh, I forgot but it was the same bar.
Yeah.
Everything was nostalgia. There was even there wasn't a volleyball scene, but there was a football scene.
And it was like kind of in the same sort of field.
Yeah, everybody had to get real buff for it,
run around with shirts off.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, as you expected. I mean, it's on the beach.
I would say briefly,
beach.
one thing I liked about this movie is that it didn't have much of an agenda. This movie was just trying to entertain you.
Got
It really didn't have a thorough line of anything that you see popularized in some movies today.
Yeah.
Some which work very well and some which don't.
Right.
I feel kind of forced. But, all right. So, Top Gun Maverick. I'm sure you can find it somewhere.
Yeah.
They don't need our help promoting the movie. All right. So, and moving on to the next one. What's the next one we saw? Me and you saw The Black Phone.
Yes. Oh God, I love it so much. You
would like this movie, Vita.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sock Derrickson. It's based on this short story by Joe Hill. I think that's his name.
Yeah, Joe Hill, Stephen King's son.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds familiar. I mean, I think I've heard the name of it, but I don't know anything about it.
Basically, there's a stranger around town. Children are disappearing, and he has this mask. There's black balloons that are left at the scene of the kidnapping, pretty much, and you figure out everything from there. There is a supernatural element to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a spoiler to say when the kid's in the basement, there's a black phone and it's not hooked up. He tells him it's not hooked up, and you can see it's not hooked up. But then after a bit of the kid being in there, the phone rings, and so he finally picks it up, and it's the ghost of the other boys.
Oh, okay.
And they kind of like help him a little bit to get out of the situation.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was very good. It's expertly shot. This guy Scott Derrickson knows how to shoot horror, and which is kind of a dying art for him.
Yeah.
But it features great performances by the kids. The kids are great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard. That's hard to pin down, like a great child actor.
Yeah.
Who can stay focused and like actually emote properly.
Yeah, when you find it's very funny. It's hard to kind of to really quantify that quality in a child actor, but you know it when you see it. You go, oh, they're great.
Yeah.
But you know it when you don't see it too.
Yeah. Yep.
You're like, why did they put that child there?
Yes.
It's just asking for trouble.
That's right.
Yes, there's been movies ruined over that where it's just like, oh, we just hired the wrong kid, didn't we?
Yep.
And then
Yep.
But so Black Phone was good. Also, all right, you haven't seen this one, Keith.
Which one?
The next one that came out on the same weekend as the Black Phone.
We
The
haven't
next
talked
one.
about it yet.
The next one, Keith.
The next
Reading
one.
my mind. God.
Damn it. So I saw this movie with Tam when she got back from her trip from DC, and it was really, really good.
Oh yeah.
I was surprised at how good it was, and that's Elvis.
Okay.
Elvis was actually pretty freaking amazing. It was Baz Luhrmann direct. Now this guy has directed Moulin Rouge, Romeo and Juliet, the 1996 Leonardo DiCaprio version, Australia, and The Great Gatsby. So he is known for big, glitzy stuff. Everything is over the top. Everything is garish. Everything is in your face. Everything is fast cutting. And Elvis is no exception. This movie flies. You do not feel its 2.5 hour runtime at all. It is just cut. Everything is spinning and we're singing and everything. The first 20 minutes in a positive way feels like a trailer.
Yeah.
And it is bonkers how the prism this movie is viewed through. The whole story is told by Tom Hanks in easily his weirdest, most out there performance.
I've heard some criticism of it.
Yes. I saw the trailer. Full disclosure, I saw the trailer. I'm like, what is Tom Hanks doing in this movie? It just doesn't feel like this is going to work at all. And I gotta say, I was wrong, because ultimately I feel like with Baz Luhrmann's style and how over the top the story is, that it ultimately works. The whole story is told through Colonel Parker's eyes.
Right.
And it's like a morphine-induced fever dream when he's in the hospital. Like, I knew Elvis, and I am the one who made it. We were
Okay.
constantly out of reach from each other. And that's his accent. You think
Yeah.
he makes a choice. Yeah, that actor makes a choice when it comes to this accent.
Okay.
Because he's supposed to be... Colonel Tom Parker is actually from the Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
And he there's like some weird stuff in his background where he goes like, well, nobody knows what I did the first 18 years of my life, you know?
Gotcha.
We don't need to talk about that. I am an American. Go USA. So he's this kind of shady carnival barker that just kind of stumbles upon Elvis one day and goes like, I can make money off of that.
So he's a man of a certain age from a certain time period. Is that what you're trying to
Yes.
say?
He
From
looks
a certain region.
in a ton of makeup. He looks like the Penguin.
Oh wow.
Like, just the amount of this movie will definitely get nominated an Oscar for best makeup because just the amount of makeup that's on it, he just like...
Maybe for editing too, just based on your...
It'll get nominated for a lot. Austin Butler is really great as Elvis. Really kind of steals it. I really, in particular, love the first 20 minutes and the last 10 minutes. You know, Tamara just sat in the movie theater and cried because it was just so sad about this guy who was used up by the financial situation he put himself in and his own demons near the end. But it's really great. I out of all the movies we talk about, Mita, Elvis is probably the one for you. You'd probably enjoy it. All right, next on the list, there's a phenomena I want to talk about because I don't understand it, and I specifically asked Keith to explain it to me on the podcast so I could react to it because I really don't know what the deal is. What is up with the teenagers wearing suits to the Minions movie?
It's a TikTok trend, basically. Like there are a lot of memes and such that are trying to push forward like ironic dollars for this Minions 2 film, you know, because Despicable Me came out like 11 or so years ago. These teenagers were like little baby kids, basically, whenever that first movie came out a long time ago, and then now they're kind of at the age like, oh, I can go and spend my own money to go whatever movie I want to watch. So they chose this movie. There are a lot of kids in like suits, like full
But they're
on
like teenagers.
tides.
They're still getting... I mean, I saw like teenagers, like
Right, yeah.
14, 16.
Well, yeah, they're not like young working adults. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's I kind of follow them without all this. It's not like Morbius. Like Morbius was like flopped in terms of the meme culture, pretty much. You know, and they tried to shoot that back out there. But these kids, the Gentle Minions, they made up like 89% of the general, you know, public who saw that movie came out. Like it made 125 million throughout the July 4th weekend. So they're just trying to get behind something crazy, something fun to do, involved with like a group of people, and they brought like bananas to. So there are some cinemas in the UK are like banning them for showing up because they're throwing bananas at the screens and smushing them and like being really rowdy because they're kids.
Is that a reference to the movie?
No. Well, I mean, bananas are a thing.
Yeah, one of the Minions talks about bananas.
Yeah, they love bananas, but that's about the most.
So they like the movie. This isn't like an ironic trashing of the movie.
I mean, I'm sure there's somewhere in the middle. You know, like I'm sure a lot of those kids don't like it, but I'm sure some of them might like it.
I don't understand. So that would be like what was big when I was a kid. That would be like me going to like the movie theater to see Land Before Time 5, and just dressing up in a dinosaur costume.
Yeah.
I would like to point out that people of my age still go to the movie theaters and watch Rocky Horror Picture Show and throw shit at the screen. So,
well, yeah, but that's like a planned thing. These people aren't expecting like. I'm sure at the Rialto, like they have like you can't throw it directly.
You can't throw it at the
directly at the screen. It's going to ruin the screen.
And I think
exactly.
they've limited what you can take in now. I don't even know if you can take anything in anymore or not because it got really messy. They had a rat problem for a while when I was in college.
That just adds to the charm. That's part of it.
Yeah.
If I go to a Rocky Horror Picture Show at a midnight screening and don't see at least 4 rats, I'm
you're like, where am I?
What are we even doing here? You know? Come on.
Yeah, apparently it made more money than Lightyear did at all.
Right.
Poor Lightyear. No, I know. Poor Disney that didn't print money on one movie.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, they decided to do a grown up. I mean, I know it was still.
Yeah.
Whatever, but I think it was supposed to have more adult themes because the Toy Story crowd is grown up. But that's not what people want to go see, and then apparently Tim Allen wasn't the voice, so it threw everybody off. So.
Yeah.
They should have let Tim Allen be the voice. I'm sure if
Well, and Tim Allen will tell you once he saw it, he said he was okay with it because Toy Story was about the toys. This is about the character that the toys are based on, so it makes sense. The voice is not the same.
right,
Yeah.
but you think they'd reach out for like a little cameo line or something like that. Here's a new toy, Buzz Lightyear. This is the voice we're thinking of going with. Oh, and it's Tim Allen's voice.
Yeah.
But okay, none of us saw Lightyear, so we're not going to spend too much time on that.
apparently none of us saw
No,
it.
didn't see
Apparently
Lightyear.
nobody saw it.
Yeah, none of us. I didn't see Minions. I'm just trying to do the research with all that.
No,
Minions I might see, but I probably won't go to the movie theater.
that's only. But are you going to see it without children in tow?
Yes. I go see movies without children in tow.
What's the last new movie you saw? Do you remember?
Oh God, I have no idea.
All right, just try to sit there and think of it. All right, so the next movie that we saw was Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
That was it was fine.
It was all right.
It's
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
Christian Bale was the best part of that film.
Excellent
Absolutely.
villain.
You know.
Actually, a decent Marvel villain for a change. Just him and
Yeah.
Thanos just sitting here. I know. I'm gonna get heat for that.
Him, Thanos, Killmonger.
Who's that? Which one is that one?
Black Panther.
Yeah. But okay, the only reason he is disqualified. Black Panther's in a. I know. Arbitrary rules.
He wasn't really a villain.
He was.
He
but
was.
He
I mean,
did.
but
He
he
did the
didn't-
thing every Marvel villains do, which is turn into the same hero or with the same type of powers as the hero, and then they fight each other. Same
Right.
thing happened for Iron Man. Same thing happened for Captain America in a way, and same thing happened for Black Panther. And it's just like I want to see something different, different type of villain.
Okay, so that's why you're disqualifying him from the great villain category.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry, Michael B. Jordan. You're an amazing actor.
Yeah, he is.
I've seen Black Panther, but not at the movie theater.
I mean,
I have Disney Plus,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I try and catch up on all of that.
yeah.
All right, Thor: Love and Thunder was fine. It was almost. I love Taika Waititi, but it was almost too much goofiness for me.
Yeah.
And it's just they had screaming goat. They had a screaming goat carrying a Viking carriage through space.
Which that's one of the jokes that works. You know.
Yeah, the screaming goats were funny. They were used just enough, but it's just like when you step back and really look at where we're at, it's like, wow, man. I thought the Russell Crowe part was like the weakest part, where
Yeah.
Russell Crowe played Zeus, and you see all the gods from the all different worlds. What did you think?
Yeah, like it wasn't like his accent that I had the issue with or his performance, but it's just that portion of the film just kind of felt like it just didn't need to be there. Like that's like if you took that, I mean the only thing that they got from that portion of the film that affected the later part of the story is, the lightning bolt, and then there's also, Korg has just become a face basically. But
Korg is just a face, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Spoiler. No, but it was a fine film. Not much to say. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just like, from the Marvel films I've seen, Thor tends to be the more humorous part of it. And I guess part of it is maybe they've embraced that rather than trying to make a good story. They're trying to make it a funny story.
Thor Ragnarok is
really good.
Thor
I really
Ragnarok's
like that
amazing.
one. Yeah.
And this does more the same. It's just I don't think it holds together quite as well.
Right.
Yeah.
There's one thing to do your show or your story and be funny about it and have comedic moments, and then there's another one to try and recreate. Like again, recreating it, you lose the authenticity of it.
Yeah, I think Thor Ragnarok was one of the best. It's one of my favorite Marvel films, and it really hit lightning in a bottle. And Taika Waititi has this type of magic that works really well, but it also here's a good example of the disconnect in this movie. It's just like we cut from a scene that is like a massacre in a village. They're all dead. The huts are burning, and we're just like, what is going on? What has happened? And then the next scene, we have like screaming goats and Thor like in a rom-com. This is like, I wonder if she's thought about me today. And this type of, I'm just like, well, you just came from a massacre, man. It's just like this tonal shift is just jarring. I will say, hey, good for you, Marvel. It was actually kind of short. It was only an hour and 41 minutes. That's what I like. I think movies as a whole are way too long, and I guess that's me, old man grumbling. Okay.
Yeah.
The only other real summer movie that's coming out this month is called Nope, and it's a horror movie by Jordan Peele. It looks really good. It's about a horse farm that has some UFO activity happening on their property. They rent out horses to movie company people, and so they're like the biggest African American horse lender for movie productions in the area.
Okay.
And so Daniel Kahlua.
Mhm. I think
He is back. He's a great actor. He was in not Down. I'm sorry.
Get Out.
Get Out.
Yeah.
And no, because this is Jordan Peele's second one-word movie. His last
Yeah.
movie was Nope. No, his last movie was
Us.
Yeah.
Us. Okay.
I
yeah.
knew there was another one. I just couldn't remember the name of it.
Get Out, Us, and Nope.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are his three films. He's a great director. He is one of the best horror directors. One of the best writers of our generation.
Absolutely.
There was recently I saw a magazine article that listed the 100 greatest screenplays of the 21st century, not counting anything before 1999 or 2000.
Okay.
And Get Out was listed as number one, the number one screenplay that has been written so far, and I think that's an excellent choice.
Yeah.
Found it interesting. One of my favorite movies was number 3, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh,
which I
that's
think
a
is
great film.
Wonderful screenplay.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one, Mita?
Nope.
All right. Well, here, watch it right fast while we take a break.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
I'm sure at some point I probably will just stumble across it and stop.
We
and watch
watched
it,
that
but-
one of the. Remember how I told you last time when I was at Ruth, my theater arts teacher and former president at NLT, Ruth Mills. I was in her class, and when I was in high school around 2004, 2005, and we watched that movie one day in her class. And
Okay.
I was arguing with another student. I know it's weird, me arguing.
Right. Shocker.
I was arguing with another student about the ending, and then Ruth just stops. She goes like, "Matt, it can have more than one interpretation," and she was right. She
Yeah.
was absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I find that if you you watch something or read a book or anything like that, you do it at certain ages. It means something different
Yeah.
when you see it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You identify with different characters and you identify with sort of a different storyline, and depending on what's going on in the world, you see it differently
Yeah.
than you did originally.
That's the mark of a great story too. Like it's open-minded to leave you with that sort of impression, throughout generations.
Not a movie, but I guess there was a movie, but I don't know that I've seen the movie. Catcher in the Rye. I read that as a grown adult, and I picked it up, I read it, and I went, "This is crap."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Like if you were 16,
Everybody-
you would love it.
Everybody's
Yeah.
like,
I
"This
did
is
love it at
great. This is
16.
Yeah.
great literature," and I read it, and I was like, "No, this is
It's
crap."
great literature if you're a 16-year-old
Boy.
looking to boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically.
I read it when I was around that age, and I had the exact reaction. I'm just like, this is great. I love Holden Caulfield is a literary hero. I want to go on his journey one day. And then I read it at like 30, and I'm just like, this guy is a whiny asshole,
Yes, exactly.
and this guy needs to shut up and get a job, and maybe make something of himself instead of complaining all the time and stop it. But yeah, it's interesting how
So, yeah.
literature changes over time.
And movies do too, because you
Yeah.
you pick up a movie now, and sometimes the movie just like I said earlier, it's like it just doesn't age well.
Yeah.
You're like, this was great for the 80s.
Yeah.
80s in particular have a lot of
Yeah.
movies that do not age well. Not even because of the politics. I'm talking about
I mean,
the
even, like,
style and the music.
Ghostbusters. I just
Yeah.
watched that the other day. I was like, going, why did I love this movie so much? But Weird Science.
Oh no, Weird
Oh,
Science has
no.
aged terribly.
Yeah.
These kids are predators. Someone get them. It's just like
Even like 16 Candles, and
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it and go,
Revenge of the Nerds.
Why
like,
did I
oh,
think,
Revenge.
why did I think people acted this way? Because nobody acted this way.
If you try and watch, I remember my grandfather thought the funniest movie that he had ever seen in a movie theater was Porky's.
Oh god.
And if you try and watch Porky's today, it's just like these kids need to be arrested right now.
Well, Animal House.
Animal House actually kind of
Stephen loves Animal House, and
some of it holds up.
It's good
There's
as
some
long
good
as you
bits.
realize that you have to look at it through the time, you look at it as a period piece.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not a modern day classic by any stretch of the imagination, but there are things that they do, and I'm like, okay.
Certain parts of Animal House I will defend. Certain parts I cannot in any way.
No.
Okay, so that about does it for the movie. For talking about those summer movies and all that. Before we go today, I have like a little
Oh, what was it? Is it a movie? It's
What?
the one with Sandra Bullock and Brad Pitt.
Bullet
and-
Train. No.
Oh, The Lost City.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
where
watched that.
She's running around in a sparkly bodysuit.
Yes.
Is
That-
there a problem here?
What's wrong with that, Mita?
No, it's just something that I've seen 1,000 commercials for it on TV, and I'm like going, I might have to see that.
No, it's really good. It's kind of a reverse Romancing of the Stone. Do you
Yeah.
remember
Gotcha,
Romancing?
yeah.
where
That I remember. Yes.
it
Old.
it's actually really funny because the original title of the movie, like the book, I forget the name of the author, but it's a very famous historical book called The Lost City of Z.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is a story, which is kind of like about the South American jungle and the Aztecs and stuff like that. The original title of the movie was The Lost City of the D. And that would be referring to like Channing Tatum is definitely, he plays a wonderful buffoon.
Gotcha.
And it's basically Romancing in the Stone in reverse.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just know that like in the commercial she's doing an interview, and they sort of intersperse it with scenes from the show or from the movie or whatever, and some outtakes and things. I mean, it's not a trailer. It's a commercial for sure. But there's interviews with her, and she talks about how the bodysuit is like a character all in of itself, and she's like, because she goes something. She goes, because Sandy B loves the bodysuit.
Her character references the bodysuit several times because it was borrowed. But she's going through all this horrible Die Hard stuff where she's getting running through the jungle and getting shot at. Now it's all ripped up, and she keeps saying, "It was rented. I borrowed this. I borrowed this."
Yeah.
Anyway,
I remember her going, "Why are you so handsome?" And Brad Pitt says, "My dad was a weatherman."
Yeah. Brad Pitt does make a cameo in this movie. He is very funny in this movie. He kind of comes in as the guy that should save the day.
Gotcha.
But stuff happens. So you can read through the lines.
Okay.
But he is very funny. God, I wish I could remember the line. I'm going to have to cut this part out. Where did he say Oh, yeah. Channing Tatum likes Sandra Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's big on when he finds her, he goes like, okay, because Brad Pitt's helping him out, i.e. Brad's doing all the work, and Channing Tatum does not know how to survive in the jungle at all. But he goes like, hey man, if you don't mind, when we see her, could you say, he goes like, hi, I'm here to rescue you. And Brad Pitt's like, no problem, man. I got no problem taking a back seat to that. Cut to 20 minutes later, explosions, they find her, and Brad Pitt's like, hi, I'm here to rescue you. He's like, what are you doing? So he's totally stealing Channing Tatum's time.
Right.
And then the plot progresses, and he's not there anymore. Okay, all right. Moving on to the last little nugget. I know if you've stayed with us this long time, God bless you, because
this is so ADHD.
It's a very kinetic episode. This is like actually, I want to say this is actually what most podcasts sound like. Believe it or not, if you actually listen to any movie podcasts or stuff like that. Let's see. Okay, little story time here before we wrap up.
Okay.
Now, we all know how Hollywood back in the day loved big like epics, right? Like Ben-Hur, and like just Caligula, Spartacus, these big Roman epics. All right, so in 1956, Republic Pictures wanted to make an epic of their own based on the Asian warlord Genghis Khan, guy who conquered at one time over 1/3 of the known globe. He was big into human trafficking and slavery and conquering, this big South Asian guy. Now, listen.
As they were during the period of that period of time.
Now, this movie was kind of made on the cheap. And so they couldn't pay that much for an actor. Now, who do you think they got as Genghis Khan? Let's see, in 1956. Do you think they went with a respected Asian actor?
Oh, God, no.
Not at all. Not at all. So I want you to, I have texted you the photo of who they cast, and I want you to just check that out right now. That is it. God. They went with John Wayne.
No.
John Wayne.
That's the worst.
He was a big name.
Yeah,
he made money. You're going to put somebody that makes money. It's like putting Tom Cruise in.
Attack, everyone.
Can you find this movie now?
Oh, yeah, it's available. It's available. So yes, it's not a great film.
I bet.
If you look up and Google his name, it's just basically John Wayne with a little bit of tan and a terrible mustache, playing the great warlord Genghis Khan.
Did he even like try to put? Have you seen it?
Oh no, are you an accent? No, sir. No, John Wayne's not going to do an accent.
This was an American movie. You don't do accents. In American movies.
Listen, Pilgrim. I want you to round up these village girls and go to sell them on the market in Rome. And so that is interesting. Now, what makes this particular movie interesting? Yeah, that's worth a laugh. But let me ask you this: do you believe in karma?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, when they shot this movie, as I said, they were shooting it on the cheap. that means they did not go on location in Asia to shoot this movie. They shot it in Arizona. In Arizona, right next to a nuclear testing site.
Nice.
So, as they were shooting this movie, they were having active nuclear testing. And now there was something that we know now, but they did not know then, called like downwash or downwind,
Okay.
which is where the radiation travels downwind. And their production, guess where they were?
Oh, good.
Downwind.
Yep.
And so 1/3 of the 212 people worked on this film. 1/3 of them have died of cancer.
Oh, wow.
Including John Wayne and the director. He
Wow.
died of stomach cancer. So that's just a little bit of karma for the Conqueror in 1956. I know a couple of you older folks have seen that on TCM. Actually, they probably don't run it anymore. They're probably like, let's just forget that one and let's show them the Searchers again. So I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
I'm sure there's stuff we do during movies. Like, oh, and, what is it? I was watching, they were talking about the snow. They used to use something that the deer would eat, and then they came up with the chemical snow, and it was, this is wonderful.
Yes.
And basically tried to kill off the deer population.
It's all asbestos.
Because they were trying to eat it. It's like,
It's just like the deer's just over there convulsing while fucking Judy Garland's trying to do a song. What's that? This makeup you're putting on my face burns an awful lot. Like, shut up and sing. Go.
yeah. Put lead in the face paint.
All right. Thank you for listening to this episode of Neuse Little Podcast. Guess what? It's still hot up here. We've each lost about a liter of water.
I'm not sweating openly anymore. So.
Yeah. Yeah. How's it feel, Keith? Good?
Yeah. Wonderful. Love it.
Let's see. If you go down first, you know what has to be done, Mina.
Well, he
In order
does have the lowest body mass.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you get for being skinny.
Yeah, that's my choice. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I have power over that.
No,
Obviously.
this guy puts away like twice the food I can. He has like a crazy metabolism.
Yeah. For now.
Yeah, catch up with you one of these days.
I know. I did just turn 30.
I was gonna say you just turned 30. I'm pushing 50. Trust me, it'll catch up with you in a heartbeat.
Yeah. That's what I keep hearing.
All right, we're gonna have.
You're gonna be round.
We're gonna have for our 50th episode in 2 weeks after this episode airs. It'll be our 50th episode, and we'll have a special guest for that. It'll be guests we have heard from before, but not in a very long time. And we hope that we can get that up and running for you. And we thank you if you kind of hung on for this one. This one has been kind of one of our sillier ones, more than the looser ones, and that happens every now and then with the output of information being finite and all that. But don't worry, we'll have another episode just like you remember in the next 2 weeks. In the meantime, thank you for Keith Davis for joining us.
Anytime.
And thank you, Mita, for indulging in our shenanigans.
Oh, absolutely.
As always.
I enjoy going. I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
I don't see it.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
You haven't seen the
Was that
doc
fun?
on-
That's good.
I'm
glad.
gonna make a
glad you
little
had fun.
macro and just go boop. I didn't hear it. I don't know it.
All right, folks. We'll talk to you later. Thank you for listening. Bye. Credits for the show. Your host and creator is Matt Gore. That's me. My producer and editor is Mita Toole.
That's me.
Music is by Cody Walker. Please go look up Cody on Cody Walker Music on YouTube, and he's also on Cody Walker Music on Facebook as well. He's local, so and he's got a couple of albums out. Easy listening, John Denver type of guitar voice. That Cody Walker. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye.